So now let's do how to balance a chemical equation. Now in balancing a chemical equation, there are some things you have to take into consideration. Number one, so to balance a chemical equation, you can't balance a chemical equation with a subscript, or you change any of these subscripts. You cannot change any of those subscripts. So these two now you can't change it because you want to balance an equation. You can't change this 6 also because you want to balance an equation. So all the subscripts in your chemical equation, you can never change it in balancing chemical equation. Another thing is that if I have something like this, it means these two here will affect everything in this place. So how many potassium do you have here? I have 2. So normal, I have 2 potassium, I have 1 phosphorus, and I have 4 oxygen. So but these two you see at the back will affect all the elements here. So that means this will be like 2 times 2, 4. So I now have 4 potassium there. 2 times 1, 2. And I have 2 phosphorus. Then 2 times 4, 8. So I have 8 oxygen. So number at the back usually affects everything. So now it will multiply everything. Another thing is that if you are balancing a chemical equation, so the first thing I usually do is that there is no trial and error here. The method you know in your school is you will say let's try 3. After you put 3, you say 3 cannot work, you try another number. No, the method we are using here will solve any balancing equation at once. Now I'll use this question to explain the rules. So in next video then you'll be doing example. Now start with the side with the highest atom. Now which one have the highest atom here? How many boron do you have here? 2. How many hydrogen do you have here? 6. Total number of atoms here is 8. How many hydrogen do you have here? 2. How many oxygen? 1. Total atoms I have here is 3. So how many hydrogen here? 3. Boron 1. Oxygen 3. Total number of atoms here is 7. And this one, total atom is 2. So this one has the highest atom. So I'm starting my balancing from here. And I won't put any number and change it again. So start with the compound with the highest atom. And if you are balancing, consider any element or compound that stand alone last. In balancing, don't start your balancing with this one that stand alone. You will still change the number. Don't start with anyone that stand alone. Anyone that stand alone should be the last option, just like that one in your balancing. That is any elements not combined, just a single element or compound or molecule. That is, if it is just a single element, consider it last. Now this your hydrogen and oxygen, balance it second to the last, apart from these ones that stand alone. So and if you are balancing, balance hydrogen before oxygen. That means in my balancing, I cannot consider balancing hydrogen or oxygen first. They are also my last option. Apart from this one that stand alone, hydrogen and oxygen are also last option. Don't even balance hydrogen or oxygen. And if you now want to balance hydrogen or oxygen, balance hydrogen first before oxygen. Now let's combine everything together. Now to balance this, I'm starting with the highest atom. So my highest atom is 8. Now how many boron do I have here? I have 2 boron. So how many boron do you have here? 1. So I'll just put 2 at the back here. So that means the boron is balanced because this 2 will multiply this one. 2 times 1, 2. Boron is balanced. Now that I put this 2 here, I will never change it again, except I use fraction to balance anyone that stand alone. So but now I can't change the number. So not like method you are learning in your school. After putting the number, you balance, now count, and I say, oh, 2 cannot work, you remove it. No, this cannot be like that. Start with the highest atom. So now boron is 2 here. I'll just put 2 here to balance boron. Now if you look at all the elements, it's remaining only hydrogen and oxygen. And what do I say? Balance hydrogen before oxygen. Now how many hydrogen do you have here? 6. How many here? 2. So total number of hydrogen is 8 here. So how many hydrogen do you have here in this side? You have 6. How many hydrogen do you have here? You have 2. So hydrogen is balanced, 8. How many oxygen do you have here? You have how many here? 1. So how many oxygen do you have here? 3 times this 2. That is, this 2 will multiply this 3. So total number of oxygen is 6. Now if oxygen is 6 and oxygen is 1 here, so you have to put 6 here, then balance the oxygen. So oxygen is 6. Now immediately oxygen is 6, hydrogen is now 12. That is 6 times 2, 12. So now you now go to this one that stand alone. So hydrogen is 2 there, just put 6. So it's now 12. So everything is balanced. So with this approach, you balance at once, but start with the highest atom. So if you count everything now, then it must be balanced. How many boron do you have here? 2. How many boron do you have here? 2. Because this 2 will multiply this B, boron. So how many hydrogen? 6 here plus 12, that is 18. How many hydrogen here? 6 here plus 12, that is 18. How many oxygen here? 6. Because this 6 will multiply this. Then how many oxygen here? 2 times 3, 6. So everything is balanced. So now let's see another one. So after this one, I'll now continue in next video generally. So now let's say we have H3, H3, BCO plus H2O to give BOH3 plus CO plus H2. So how do we balance this? So now I said start with the side with the highest atom. Now look at everything. How many hydrogen do you have here? 3. How many boron here? 1. How many carbon? 1. How many oxygen? 1. So I have 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1, 5 plus 1, 6. So I have total number of 6 atoms here. I have total number of 3 atoms here. 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. So I have 1 boron. Remember, these 3 will affect both O and H. So that will be like O3, H3. So any number you have outside will affect the 2 numbers inside. That means in this case we have 3 oxygen and 3 hydrogen. So that is 6 together plus 1 boron. So that is 7. So everything I have here is 7 atoms. So I have 2 atoms here, carbon and oxygen. 2 atoms here, hydrogen gas. So remember, if I want to balance, I'll balance the one that stand alone last, is my last option. So I'm starting my balancing here now, since it has the highest atom. And remember, if you have not balanced every other element, don't even go to hydrogen or oxygen. You must balance every other element before you consider hydrogen or oxygen. And if you are now considering hydrogen or oxygen, then balance hydrogen first before oxygen. So now let's start. So boron is here. How many boron do I have here? 1. How many boron do I have here? 1. That means boron is balanced. Now I have oxygen and hydrogen here. I will skip it to see if I still have other elements. So now I have carbon. So I have to consider carbon, because it's until I balance every other element I will now consider hydrogen or oxygen. If you have not balanced other element, don't consider hydrogen or oxygen. And anyone that stand alone should be your final option. Okay, so now boron is 1. Boron is 1. Balance. So I have hydrogen or oxygen, so I'll skip that. So I need to move to carbon. 1 carbon here, 1 carbon here, also balance. So my last option now is to do either hydrogen or oxygen, but I'll consider hydrogen first, then before oxygen. So but here now, how many hydrogen do you have here? 3. How many do you have here? 2. Making how many? 5 is odd. So how many hydrogen do you have here? 3. Remember, this 3 will affect this H also. That is 3 hydrogen. I have 2 hydrogen here. That means hydrogen is also balanced. 5. It now remain oxygen. So how many oxygen do you have here? 1. How many here? 1. Making 2 oxygen. How many oxygen do you have here? Remember, this is 3 plus 1, making 4. So and sorry, 3 here. So and I have 1 here, making 4 oxygen here this side. So and I have how many here? Just 2. 1 2. So but since 1 is here, I need to balance this. If I put 3 here, then oxygen is 3 here, plus this one making 4. But immediately oxygen is balanced, hydrogen is now 3 times 2, 6, and plus 3 again, 9. So hydrogen is 3 times 2, 6, plus this 3, that is 9. So since hydrogen is 9, so I have to count the hydrogen here also. So I have 3 here already, so it remains 6. So I'll just put 3 here, because 3 times 2 will be 6. So hydrogen is now 9. You will see in my balancing, I'm balancing everything straight. I did not change any number. So let's see another one using the same techniques. So the more you solve, the better you understand. So let's see another one. In next video I'll use fraction to balance. So let's say we have calcium plus H2O to give CaOH2 plus H2. So which one has the highest atom? Yeah, it's obvious, is this. It has the highest atom. So I'll start from calcium. How many calcium do I have here? 1. How many calcium here? 1. Balance. How many hydrogen do I have here? 2, because it will affect this one. This is another 2, making 4. So and how many do I have here? 2. I'll just put 2 here. So hydrogen is balanced. So how many oxygen do you have here? 2, because 2 times 1 is 2. And how many oxygen do you have here? This 2 will affect this 2. So everything is balanced. So let's do one more. So I'll continue in the next video. So Na2CO3 plus HCl to give CO2 plus NaCl plus H2O. So, which one has the highest atom in all? So I have 2 sodium, 1 carbon, 3 oxygen. So that is 2 plus 3, 5 plus 1, 6. I have total number of 6 atoms here. I have hydrogen and chlorine, 2 atoms there. 2 oxygen and 1 carbon, 3 atoms there. 2 sodium and 1 chlorine, 2 atoms there. Then 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So this one has the highest atom. So I'm starting my balancing from there. So how many sodium do you have here? 2. I have 2 sodium. So how many sodium do you have here? 1. So how to balance it? You just put 2 at the back here. So sodium is now 2 here, and sodium is also 2 here. So I will not change the number again. Start with the highest atom. So sodium is balanced, followed by carbon. How many carbon here? 1. How many carbon here? 1. So again, I still have chlorine. Consider hydrogen or oxygen last. So I'm balanced hydrogen before oxygen. I have 1 chlorine. I have 1 chlorine and 2 chlorine here, because this 2 is affecting it. So 2 chlorine, and I have 1 here. How can I make it equal? I have to put 2 here. So that means chlorine is now balanced. So it remains hydrogen and oxygen. So how many hydrogen do I have here? 2. And how many hydrogen do I have here? 2 is balanced. So how many oxygen do I have here? 3. How many oxygen do I have here? This is 2. Then this is 1, 3. So everything is balanced. Do you see I'm balancing it at once without changing the number? So not like I'll put number, I'll say, hey, this one cannot work. So just follow this pattern. You will balance everything. So I'll move on in another video.